Hello everybody, this is Purge, and I'm going to be bringing you a replay coaching. This one is signed up by Daniel. About 2K MMR. You say you've been watching my YouTube and Twitch content since you started playing Dota. Thank you. You found content very helpful, but you've been stuck around 2K MMR for several years and you're having trouble seeing what you're doing wrong. Finding it hard to carry the game unless there's one or more core on your team who's doing his job correctly. You tend to play position 1 or 2 because you feel like you have zero impact as support in the late game, where most of your pubs end up in. You get easily tilted when your supports play bad, and things to focus on, basically. Okay, this is going to be the first one. The other replay that you sent me was another Lich game. Okay, but we'll go through this one first. Let's poke on through. Alright, items look fine. So one thing about PL is that he does need a little bit of time in the laning stage before you can basically ditch the laning stage and go jungle. And jungling is where you really accelerate on the hero, in my opinion.
30 seconds to
I wouldn't say that that nuke was worth it at all. It only does a 10% slow. You did the damage, but you only got one illusion hidden. So effectively all you did was use your mana. You're not moving between attacks. That's another mistake you're making. Every time you attack, you need to move a little bit. You attack here. See how you're standing still? You're just waiting to attack him again. But you could get extra attacks on him. I know this is bugged for some reason, but I don't know why he's showing as stunned, but yeah, you're not attack moving very good, and as a result, you're missing a little bit of attacks. It's like a small thing, and in this instance, it really doesn't matter that much, but in the long term, it's absolutely going to matter. Why is this map so fucked? Maybe because there was a patch and this is an older replay. That's probably why. I don't know what to believe. This is not normal. Well, we'll just see what happens. Okay. Honestly, it might even be worth it to get Phantom Rush over your nuke, because then at least you'd get 11 bonus agility, which is 11 damage and extra armor. So when you do trades against Witch Doctor, it would be a little bit more effective. But getting your nuke is probably fine. So what Lion should be doing is, first of all, regenning, of course, but trading hits with people farther away from you. You should not be missing last hits when you're uncontested. I'm sure you know that. Good deny. You could have potentially gone for the nuke on that. Your support definitely seems a little bit clueless, for sure. What's the purpose of nuking there? All you're doing is nuking him for damage. Nukes should be used in conjunction with attacks, because nukes typically aren't just damage, they're slow as well. So if you have a slow tied to this, you want to be using it while people are also hitting. And obviously your line hasn't been doing an excellent job by any means in the lane here, but back line does seem pretty garbage. I'm not gonna lie, quite garbage. Yeah, it's not gonna work because it does damage over time. So, what did you do wrong? You basically committed for that deny, or that last hit, even though you didn't need to. And then they finally decided to go on you, and they both hit you a bunch. If you had Doppelgang, you could have hypothetically lived. Salve wasn't gonna work, of course, and yeah. Buying a wand is not the way to go. Wand is not the first item you need. You need Wraith Bands. Just a lot of Wraith Bands, like at least 2. I know you panic bot, so that's part of it, but you dying there was absolutely your fault. No doubt about it. You're also trying to zone out the Witch Doctor, which is okay. But I don't know, you could maybe try to do a little bit more organized with your teammate. Part of that is just that he's not going in when you're not going in, that kind of a thing. It's kind of a combo thing, but as soon as you get the money, you should bring Wraithband out, just like right away, basically. Your last City pretty decent. There's the Wraithband, but that should have been done earlier. You had money already. You tried to stack, which is a good attempt. Line should be back to pull.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So it's pretty dangerous. He still hasn't done anything. I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't go back in this moment and pull, to be honest, because I don't think he was going to do it. But, like, literally he just stood around, right? Wave's pushing up. You missed this one already, of course. Well, you should have been here for that experience. This is a waste for you. You went to go stack this camp, but this is actually, like, at least 2 creeps that you didn't get experience for. Possibly 3. That's like a whole creep wave, actually. But in this moment here where the wave is up, I don't think it's terrible necessarily. I guess you can't pull here because then the creep wave would match, but... Yeah, you just shouldn't have gone to stack this. You should have stayed in the wave. Like, in those moments when the creep wave is, like, here and there's 2 heroes, I don't think it's terrible to stand here and get experience and then tell your line go pull, for example. I don't think that's a bad thing. Because I know you said that it's hard for you to direct your teammate to get last hits while also... Looks like you did cut that tree. It's hard to, like, instruct them how to play their hero while also performing your best abilities, but it doesn't mean you can't do that. Definitely should have another Wraithband here before you make treads. What the fuck is going on with this map, dude? I am so confused. But yeah, definitely more Wraithbands. 1 is not enough. Absolutely. Treads is really good on your hero. Wraithbands are really good on your hero. But you should just do the Wraithband instead. Again, you're kind of doing the same thing. You're just kind of throwing your nuke for 75 damage. It's just not that important. Sven has a lot more last hits than you know. Not quite sure why, but... Line is done. Oh, you should... Alright, as soon as you get maledicted, you got a doppelgang. Without a doubt. Like right here, you shouldn't even let him hit you at all. Just doppelgang and run for it. It is not in any way worth it for you to, like, fight this out. You might even die here. That was so close. So unnecessarily close. Now you just power eat tangos until you're full healed. Last hitting's been very good. It's good, and you're pulling it right. That way you guarantee the last hit. Got your treads coming.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Still should have another Wraithband though. Oh, you're just phasing over trees. Normal stuff here. Alright, things are going pretty good though. I'm so confused. I don't know why this is so messed up. Maybe the map got moved while I was gone this last week. Alright, I gotta let my dog get out of the room 1 sec.
Dire's bottom tower.
Pause here. And... Okay, so Wraithbands, more farm speed, all that good stuff. We should not take in this clap. I guess it's a little bit unlucky, but that they spawn. But you should always have your illusions tanking, not your hero. Pretty much always. Now you have a Salve coming. Now you have a Yasha coming. But look, you have 2 empty item slots. And because neutral items don't fill up your base slots anymore, it is still completely worth it for you to have Wraithbands. Totally fine that you have a magic wand here, but you should have at least 1 Wraithband. Probably 1 Wraithband. This is really good on you, actually. Very, very nice. Iron Talon, good. See, the same thing. You're tanking the neutrals every time. Every time you come up to creep wave like this, as soon as you spawn an illusion, you need to A-click on your illusions to de-aggro your hero. Because otherwise, this whole time you're taking damage. Like, you should be able to passively regen pretty quickly. You don't need to use a salve in these circumstances, because what should be happening is that your illusions are tanking, like you did here. And it's maybe not the last time that you're going to keep doing it, but like those little mistakes that you made up until now meant that you maybe had to use half of a salve or 2 extra tangos than you would have had to otherwise. But either way, you jungling is good here. Yasha first. I don't know if that's the move. I'm not sure though. Some PLs might do that. Because you could argue that going like Manta first might be valuable, but based on the heroes, there being a Sven and stuff and a Witch Doctor, Diffusal is really not bad this game in the slightest. But you will farm faster with Yasha. Yeah, you're de-aggroing a lot better here. You unfortunately block this. Looks like both are actually blocked. At least now they are. Okay, that was good. The way that you are farming through jungles is great. Should have probably gone to these wildkins that are hidden under the map. I don't know what to do about that. It's kind of hard for me to tell you farming patterns when shit is busted, but I will do my best. Anyways, you got Yasha finished and you're going to Diffusal. That looks fine. You bought more tangos, which is fine, I guess. This guy wants to kill you, but it will be difficult. You should be moving your illusions forward, probably, but it's a very easy kill. Should de-aggro here, for example. Should have been a tango already. I mean, it seems like your early farming patterns have been really solid, honestly. Your net worth is great. What's probably maybe not happening is I would guess you're going to start making some moderate mistakes. And that's going to make the game kind of hard. Ooh. Ah, yes, just running around at high health. Yeah, Iron Town on this hero is actually so... Oh, this is really dangerous. Yeah, you just die now, I'm sure. Your doppelganger was very confusing to me. Why'd you go straight on top of you? You needed to doppelgang away. I get that you didn't know that he was there, but to doppelgang and try to fight is crazy. You're not going to be able to beat a Sven. Like, even though you have way more farm than this guy does, at least did. I guess he's got an Echo Saber now. Like, going head to head against him is just not going to be valuable until you get your Diffusal. Or your allies fight with him. This is a big mistake that you made here, because now he's gonna be able to pressure your tower, and yeah, if your teammates just straight up don't come, I mean, this is so much damage. If your tower dies you took half damage because of this mistake that you made, more or less. Then you're going back into the jungle, which is fine. Don't know why you pulled away from that. Nice, you got an Aquila now. Yeah, that's going to be better for sure. I don't know why you're not nuking this guy. Like, as soon as you're in this position here, I would throw a nuke on him. Because it's going to spawn an illusion, do a little bit of damage, and start spawning illusions potentially. Now you got kind of crazy, but at least Maledict didn't hit you. You should doppelgang to remove the urn, probably. At least I would have. You took like an extra 100 damage more than you needed to. You also don't necessarily need to play here. In fact, one thing that I can easily criticize is that you pretty much only played on the top side of the map. And if you, there's nothing saying that you can't like TP to the offlane and help them push the tower down, for example. Because you're going to be able to kill creep waves really, really easily. And yeah, you might force a fight by doing this, but Bristleback can also push out top lane pretty safely. It doesn't have to be just you doing this. And in some ways it'd be easier. Like the time that you died to Sven, for example, wouldn't necessarily happen. So like your net worth has been very good, but it is true that you haven't really moved around and participated in your team's game yet. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to fight, but what is kind of important is that you haven't taken your high net worth and at least put it in a lane to help push a tower down, for example. So if you just come bottom and you kill a creep wave and then you kill the next creep wave, then it becomes a lot easier to dive. You can doppelgang to kill the trees, then everyone's going to feel a lot more confident on your team for diving. Because nobody else is really that farmed and that tanky. I mean, your team has a lot of really good items, by all means. Like, your net worth is pretty significant, but it doesn't mean you still can't go to the bottom lane and go tank an engagement. Or at least, like, just push your net worth there and help push. Interesting. You've almost got your... Oh, this should always be on. There's no reason not to have this on. M-Claw is actually really good on PL because it gives all of your illusions the crit. But it's only 30%, I guess. And the item itself doesn't do more damage for your illusions, so maybe it is in some ways. Should TP right away. A little bit late on it, but it's fine. It's like everything is still fine for your team. I mean, this game looks kind of unlosable to me. I guess the net worth is not that incredibly far behind, but now you're pushing bottom out. This is the thing that you probably could have done earlier. Interesting. You should have been killing this next creep wave, not jungling, I think. And I don't think you need to be this scared pushing, probably. Like, I would have probably killed another creep wave instead. Yo, why is the map so busted, dude? What is happening? You have gotten the bounty. I have no idea. Diffusal? Okay. This should be a kill, I assume. Oh, your hero was not hitting him this whole time. Oh, please don't die. Oh my god, I was so scared for you, dude. So, obviously, major problems that you're hitting creep the whole time. You used your diffusal, but you didn't right-click again with your hero. So then you just started slapping, and to be honest, this whole time it wasn't really... God. Oh, that scared the shit out of me. Now you're waiting for your Manta. Good old clumsy net. Alright, so again, the map's pretty fucked right now, but the order at which you did this was kind of crappy. You walked all the way over here, you killed this, then you went over here and killed this, then you ran all the way back up here and killed this. You could instead like run... Did you run this way too? I can't remember. But you could hypothetically like go up here, kill this, then go here, kill this, then go here, kill this. Or do like these, boom, 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 or something like that. Because like going like this was certainly longer, I feel like, than doing this one. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it wasn't spawn, maybe the map, maybe the replay is bugged, but that was good, saved you a little bit of time. This is good. Unfortunately, this didn't get killed. But I like that you're trying to accelerate in that way. Wish you had fuller HP, then it'd be easier to pressure this tower, but... That was actually pretty scary. You could definitely turn, and I would have probably nuked the Sven, to be honest. I don't think you needed to run for the hills necessarily. TP in bottom looks good. Can't believe this tower's still alive. Actually, it really shouldn't be at a 20. Like, you guys have had a net worth all game. Like, I genuinely feel like if you would have helped to kill this tier 1 tower bottom at an earlier stage in the game would have been in a much better place for your teammates. Because then, like, ganking through their jungle with Lion or Wind Ranger just would have been so much easier for them. But instead, like, there's no gank potential. It's like they'd have to gank here, and that's it. But you would have opened up their whole damn jungle just by coming down and helping you kill this tier 1 tower. I think that's the biggest mistake you made this game by far, was not spending, like, a moment to take that tower. You don't need to retreat all the way back here. Oh, I guess you wanted to buy Manta, in which case that makes sense. Guy did a decent amount of damage to you here. Alright, pushing out the lane again. Killed that. See, this is what this affords you, killing the tier 1. You don't have to be this scared. You're playing too scared here. You're definitely sitting too far back. You can easily take this camp, you can take this camp, you could potentially TP with your allies as well. Kind of doppelganged aggressively. Should have manted already. Did that really weird. Let's see how you did that. First of all, the initial problem was that you doppelganged forward. You had your mantas going like this. Then you doppelganged here at the same time they started TPing. Like this, you should never doppelgang aggressively like this, just spawn some more illusions. You already had mantas here anyways. It's not like you needed necessarily. Maybe these aren't mantas, I'm not sure. Might be replay bugs. But never doppelgang aggressively like that. So basically use doppelgang aggressively, which gives them the opportunity to just go on you. Not that they did it perfectly, but your manta was ready this whole time. You could have gotten out of that quicker. And you probably didn't want to hard commit to trying to get a kill. Because this is the issue basically, is that like you're genuinely a lot stronger than Sven, because you can just drain his mana, and his cleave doesn't really beat you very well, but you've given him 2 kills now as the top net worth hero in the game. That really shouldn't have happened. And just doing that has given Sven, who's supposed to be an offlane hero this game, an actual real game. So those are your major mistakes this game, I think. The not going bottom to help your allies push the tower briefly, just to take the tower, push the creep wave, doppelgang behind the tower. It's kind of scary to do that because, but like with like 1 or 2 heroes, even if you guys just like smoke in or something, you should be able to take the tower pretty easy, and that opens up the whole enemy jungle and makes it easier for your team to gank. And then in the meantime, then your opponents are going to feel a lot more spread on the map. They'll feel like they want to play top, but they can't, and because they have to defend bottom a little bit. Like if they're weak, they're going to make that mistake at least. So, I would say those giving the Sven those 2 kills, and both kills of which he really should not have gotten, and then also the tier 1 tower was the biggest mistake you made. And you've been playing just a little bit too defensive, in my opinion, in terms of what creeps to go for. Some weird shit in this replay. Alright, now the mid tower is dead. I mean, this game looks pretty firmly in control of your team, honestly. Your Pudge is super far ahead. He's got 15 Flesh Sheep stacks. Wind Ranger's got an MKB. Bristleback's buying slightly weird items, but it'll be fine. And PA's just straight up, like, pretty far behind everybody else. So it feels like the only issue is really Sven. And the only reason it's not worth as good is because you've let him kill you a few times. Paladin Sword's pretty good. Oh, Pudge got a Craggy. That's so good, actually.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It's actually incredible on him. I hope he uses it. I don't know if you used your Manta to push these lanes out. You should probably watch your player perspective now. For some reason, this replay's on the old map. This is the old map, I'm pretty sure. Before it's changed this most recent time, but yeah, it is, because this cliff doesn't exist anymore. It's like more down here. I don't know why this replay is showing on this old map. Very bizarre. It's like the first team fight you've shown up to, I believe. You should have charged all the way in. You made a mistake here. This guy should have died easier. You interrupted your Phantom Rush to cast your nuke. But like, what's the point? You could have got into melee range and hit him for like full damage and then nuked him, you know? I think that would have been more effective, personally. Now when you guys finally group as 5, the fight just gets really easy. Just because your heroes are a lot better positioned. And the creep wave is great. It's a good idea. Might have been able to go high ground, honestly. This was not a terrible idea, I don't think, but you should be focusing on pushing waves over jungling at this point, I think. I don't know why your team stayed here. This is a bad idea. I don't blame that hook necessarily. You did the same shit again. You started Phantom Rushing, but you stopped to throw your nuke. So then by the time you're basically walking, you're basically giving up your ability to get into the team fight at all. Because you're getting slightly into the team fight and then you're wasting it just so you can cast Spirit Lance. Then your initiation comes like a whole second later. Like, this guy could have died so much earlier in this fight. And then you're also doppelganging in as well. You do not need to do this, I don't think. Like, run in all the way, start hitting him. You're going to start spawning illusions. You don't necessarily have to you don't have to initiate with a doppelganger. If anything, it's always safer to save it, because then you can react to it. Oh, somebody tries to throw a stun at you. Maybe you get decrept, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't also have Manta available, but if you're charging in to these guys and they're going on like a Pudge or something like this, God, what is this shit? Please tell me somebody is using the item. Nobody is using Craggy Coat 12 armor that Pudge could have. Shoot me in the face, man. Over Mindbreaker? This is straight up garbage. Anyways, they're going on your allies here. They're all focused on your allies. This guy should just be dying. You also basically prevented yourself from having 44 agility for this 4 seconds also. Is the other probably most important mistake that you made here. This whole time that you're attacking him, you do not have your bonus from Phantom Rush. You just don't have it. Because you interrupted it. So that's like, what? 10 less armor or something. No, it's not that much. It's like 7 or 8 less armor or something. Not to mention the 44 less damage and attack speed. That's incredible. That's a huge loss. So, yeah, that's easily the biggest mistake. And then because you doppelganged once you got into melee range, it just gives them this like huge window to chase you down. And now you're in this like weird situation because it took you so long to take the engagement. You do have Manta available this whole time. Could have Manta'd out of that. So that's your third major death. So those are the 3 big mistakes, for sure. The dying to Sven up top, the dying to Sven down here, and then this fight here. And those are on you. You're farming fast. That part's good. And the other mistake, not taking the tier 1 tower. But you made pretty moderate teamfight mistakes in these last 3 engagements. That didn't need to be like this. Like, your whole purpose as a carry is to get lots of net worth. You've got that part down, but you're not using it well in the actual team fight. You kept interrupting your Phantom Rush like 3 times, which basically meant these 4 skill points are wasted, and your impact in the fight is lesser. You need to target the backline like you have been in some cases, but you need to kill those guys as fast as possible so that you can go to the next target, because they're only going to be focusing on your allies so long. And if it takes you like 10 seconds to kill the Witch Doctor instead of like 5, then that's 5 more seconds for that you're going to get tunnel vision to get that kill. And then by the time that kill's over, they're done with the Pudge, and then they're going to go on you instead. So, yeah, your farming is relatively fine. But you also died in the lane in kind of a weird way. But those ones are kind of small. I die like that sometimes too. But the bigger mistakes are though after you're farmed, you start making mistakes and dying. Those were the bigger problems. And then, yeah, one more Wraith Band is another thing that you needed. So I would guess that this kind of thing keeps happening. I mean, even dying here alone is why you lost this tier 2 tower, for example. It's because you died here. You could have potentially defended it otherwise. God, I really wish this guy bought any armor. He had such a good position. Now you're finishing your heart, which is great. You shouldn't be jungling defensively on your side of the map. This is a big mistake. Where you should be farming is down here, basically, because then it would be easier for you to get into engagements. But you're kind of scared to cross the map is what it seems like. Now there's going to be engagements because your team is actually across the map, but you're not. You might sit here and blame your allies, but in reality, like, I don't know, you're not really on the same page as them here. Now you guys are running away because you're getting iffy, you're getting scared because they have dead heroes. You have dead heroes. I guess it's pretty good to have this when you have a heart, huh? Kind of a bonkers combo. You should be down here pushing, I think. You'll get there eventually though, so I won't criticize you too much for taking the ancient camp on the way. But this is bad. Doing the same thing. Should have at least used your Manta to push this out. At least. TPing top to fight. I don't know. It's like you're kind of always in the wrong place at the wrong time, is what it seems like so far. Let's go back and see how this all started. So they ganked Wind Ranger. And Pudge just wants to go in. Then you finally start teleporting. Basically no Wind Ranger. Line died for nothing. Pudge got cleaned up. And then Bristleback got 4v1'd, pretty much. I won't necessarily blame you for not being there on that one, but they will be going high ground now. Now you're running back. Kind of did the same thing again. You like doppelganged in. What I think would be better, to be honest, rather than doppelganging in, doppelgang like right here, and then just send your illusions in on the Witch Doctor, because at least then he has to cast spells or he loses his mana. That's probably what you should be doing instead. And or you could send the illusions on Sven instead, because his mana pool is a lot weaker. He's also maybe an easier target. It's definitely one of the issues that hurts you. It's like, you do this doppelgang thing because you want the illusions, but then your hero's in the middle of the shit. That's pretty fucking scary. You kind of manted at a bad time. You just kind of manted because you got scared. But it would have been better to manto when like there was actually something to dodge or remove. Now you're going to hit full HP again. Things get defended. This is a really good hook by the Pudge. Going on Witch Doctor, that's great. You nuke, then you charge, that was great. I think this is a huge waste of your time though. I don't like your target acquisition here. Killing the Witch Doctor, perfect. But then now you're running around to go chase an Invoker that you can't even see. And to be honest, you could just doppelgang Tiground as well. But this whole time Sven's attacking people. You did it again. You started your charge and then you did a nuke. This is like 3 seconds of you fucking with Sven that you could have done. At least draining his mana. But instead, he gets to have mana for the rest of the fight. Until he dies. Or you could have gone on Pugna instead, for example. See how slowly you're walking into every engagement? Because you keep wasting your charge? It's actually such a big loss. You cancel it again here. Don't you have a hotkey, bro? Come on. I see you mouse clicking that. It's messed up. Doppelganger cooldown. You should be pushing this out more. You don't have to be scared. Use. Okay, maybe you did. I guess it pushed out pretty far without it. You didn't manta, so. You're definitely farming a little too defensively, though. This is great. I don't think you should be pushing. You should go back, I think. I guess they already got it, though. Like, you should go fight now, for sure. Because now, somebody TP'd, which means if you TP back, it's a 5v4. I don't know why you haven't teleported yet. This is crazy. This is actually crazy you haven't TP'd. It's actually crazy as hell. This is like a very, very common play. Push out the bot lane. Force somebody to TP back, then you TP back and force a fight with your team. As soon as you saw that Sven TP and you were able to get far enough away that he can't blink stun you, you need to TP back and fight with your team. And then you kill this ancient camp instead. Like, see how late you're showing up? You used your nuke too, or you used all of your spells too early. And now look, your team loses the fight because of this. Here's the moment that you should have teleported. Right here. Hide behind tree, look, and then teleport. Oh look, they caught somebody. Caught PA. He's got Aegis. He's dying. He kind of died very easily, I see. Why does this guy not have a hood? That would certainly have helped a lot. Looks like this is going to clean everybody up. And you finally show up here to kill a Witch Doctor, but he could have been dying this whole time, you know? And then you're gonna die here. Like, I don't know. I don't think some of your teammates they've made some bad decisions, but this game was definitely extremely winnable, and I would say that a lot of that was maybe your fault. Maybe not a lot, but there's definitely some things that you could have done to make this less bad. Let me look at the manta as well that you did. You did get the Havoc Hammer. That was pretty sick, but. You're just always manting so early. It's like you get in mild danger and you manta. Let's look at your buffs. Armor corrupted, stifling dagger slowed. What do? You manta. What's the point? Why are you manting? You had no buffs. That removes like your one solution. You could have doppelganged instead, for example, you know? You didn't even doppelgang to dodge the EMP, by the way. This whole time you've had doppelgang up on a 5-second cooldown. And then when you're actually finally dying, you use doppelgang. You know, you should have done it a lot earlier. Manta should be like your last Like, it should be about you being decrept or cold snapped, pretty much. Or trying to dodge EMP, or trying to dodge Stormhammer or something. That should be when you use those skills. And now you're versus 5 heroes, that's almost impossible. You're not going to be able to kill him now. But a lot of this was genuinely you dying to Sven twice. And yeah, just a couple teamfight mistakes. You weren't coordinating with your team very well. Okay, let's watch the other one. It is a Lich game. Is this one? I believe that's it. I should have taken a look. Where are we at? Okay. Lots of regen, no stats, but it's probably fine. Lich has the blast advantage, so it should be good. I'm assuming you're against like a Pango Disruptor or something, so.
30 seconds to battle. The battle begins.
This is another one of those cases where you used your nuke, but not to get good right clicks in. You kind of used that at like a long range. Should have been tangoing this whole time as soon as you took a hit from the Pango. This is so here's a little trading mistake you made. Probably should have fought the CM there. As soon as you're in this position between two heroes, they're both going to turn and right click you. So the person you should be trading with is the Crystal Maiden, not the Pango. Pango's a melee hero. Crystal Maiden doesn't have that much damage anyways. In fact, if you clicked on her, and I don't know if you had done this or not, girl's got no regen. She's got 2 tangos and a base. So yeah, she's going to have some mana regen. She's probably got a salve coming, but she's absolutely the person you should be trading with, not this guy. This forces you to retreat a lot. Basically, look at all these attacks she got on you. She actually just did like 300 damage to you because you used your nuke on Pango and because you didn't fight her back. And I know that your HP was lower than hers at the time, but like, you do as much damage as Crystal Maiden does with right clicks. Like, you could be fighting her back, you know? Instead, like in this entire laning stage so far, she's just been like outplaying you basically because you haven't been right clicking her back. So you've basically just lost this laning stage. Not lost it, but like it's not gone very well because you've just been afraid to right click her. You made a mistake here. You should have attacked before you used your nuke. And see how different it is now? You should have mangoed and nuked her there, I believe, because she was already... Basically, look at her hero positioning. Like, she's here. The creep wave is pushing up. You have more attack range in her. You can nuke her and attack her a couple more times because now she's running. When she's running, she's not attacking you. But all you did was attack her like one more time and you accidentally canceled the second animation. But if you nuke her there, she's basically out of the lane. It's doing the same thing again. You're trying to focus on the Pangolier to disrupt his last hits, but instead in this circumstance, you should just crush the Crystal Maiden. Once you crush the Crystal Maiden, it unlocks the door of you being able to harass the Pango. So I think you were a little bit pulled between the two things, thinking like, oh man, I have to do something to stop the Pango from farming, but really you could have just beaten the CM, and that would have made things here. But instead, look what happens. You lose focus for a little bit, and then you give him a free first blood, but you were winning this lane. It would have been crushed. The trading you did with CM, if you did that from the start of the lane stage, this lane would have been 100% over. But because of that like bad trading mistake you made where you like nuked the Pango and then felt like you had to run away, which is kind of true, you lost your salve. But that's okay. You still have more tangos than Crystal Maiden. Then you win the trade, but then you go and do this. You come forward. What are you doing this for? To harass the Pango again? You moved yourself way out of position because you had this desire to harass Pango. Look at your positioning. If you start a fight with any of these heroes, all of these creeps will aggro to you. So you now are unable to right-click them. Basically, if you stand anywhere in like this area, you cannot right-click them. You moved your hero into that position, and now there's no way that you win a trade here. You right-click the Pango, you aggro the creeps. He's not even paying attention. He nukes the creep wave instead. And then you try to commit to trading again because you're like, oh, well, I should be trading with Crystal Maiden. But now because your health is already so low from this, it's too late. And you had this range creep hitting you the whole time, which didn't make it any easier either. So finally you're going for this Crystal Maiden hit, and now you realize like, oh shit, I messed up. You misclicked a little bit down here instead of going to the left, and then you get first blood. There was no reason for you to get first blood here. You can easily beat a Crystal Maiden in a trade war with a Lich. You do 125 damage per nuke. He does 130, but yours is on a 7-second cooldown. Yours lowers his attack speed by more than his does, and your hero just has better right click anyways. And now it looks like you're respawning but running into death again, more or less. This trade is good. And then you got outplayed. She actually has really good regen even without getting Arcane Aura. So, and now you probably had to run back to lane as a result of these mistakes, and now you've kind of thrown your lane, honestly. And at least in the sense that you've given them way more advantage than they needed to have. Then you came mid. I don't know why you're doing this. This is unnecessary. You should just keep going back bottom, not messing around with Storm here. Ah, yes, the Cliff Ward. And then you end up TPing bottom again, but at this point, like, it's already quite late. Like, he's got more less hits than CK now. You bought Windlace, which is fine. Like, by losing your trade, you just didn't stabilize your lane, and then it kind of made things bad. This is a really bad use of mana, your Frost Shield. Should be doing that when you're forcing fights. I don't know why he didn't have Chaos Bolt over Reality Rift. That was really weird, but... So you can blame him on that, I guess, but... Like, all you basically had to do is win that war against CM, get your level 2, and then pick either hero to go on. Like, because if this guy, even if he gets Reality Rift at 2 instead of a stun, that's going to lower the enemy armor by 3. So between all the slows that you have, between Frost Blast and Frost Shield, you guys could easily repeatedly kill CM. But because you fed First Blood and then died a second time as well, now it just got hard. And you have some opportunities to do it now, but wasting mana like that, you just wasted 100 mana. Now you can't use both spells, so you're effectively a level 1 hero again, because you used it at bad timing. This guy's got his Javelin now as a result of getting the First Blood, so now he's even doing a lot of damage. I would have right-clicked there before nuking, kind of similar as before. You easily could have killed him a lot easier if you had mana for Frost Shield. Don't get Frost Shield level 2. I don't think this is worth it at all. You're dealing 60 more damage with the skill, but you can only cast it once every 25 seconds. Whereas Frost Blast, you can cast it more often. It's 75 more damage if you get a second point of Frost Blast. Yes, the mana cost does go up a lot, but you're going to be using that more often. You should be prioritizing Frost Blast on Lich, because this is your better trading skill. At this point in the game, mangoes are not your good solution. These just got nerfed, by the way, so they only heal you for 125 mana. You should be buying a Clarity if your mana is this gone, because otherwise you're trading one mango for one Frost Blast, which is not a good trade. This is not the way to do it. And to be honest, you have a lot of gold that you haven't spent here. You could be working towards a Magic Wand by buying 2 Ironwood branches. You could buy a Magic Stick, for example. Magic Stick would be really good too. There's no way that you don't live. Like, you almost died here. One more right click and you go down. But if you have a Magic Stick, there's no way you die there. And maybe you could have bought enough time for your CK to come over and get a kill, for example. Now you're buying boots in the south. It's just like way too many consumables. The 3 mangoes in the south. This is so much money. This is a Magic Wand right here that you could have had. Magic Wand Ironwood branches is going to be way better. And a Clarity Potion or something is way better than 3 mangoes. I guess that's a lot more money, but it's like 210. But you had extra money, you know? You could have bought other stuff. And like boots is not really... Boots is helpful, but it's not necessarily what's going to win you this lane, I don't think. Like, even having something like a Basie, I think, would be better for you than buying the mangoes. Because that's 3 to all stats. It gives you some more mana regen, for example. That would make your hero more valuable. You could have pulled in the meantime, by the way. You don't need to stand by your tower, but you missed that because you were shopping. So in this meantime, you hadn't done anything to reset equilibrium other than coming over here and get 1 deny. CK ended up just cleaning everything up. What an interesting skill. I guess you don't need to max out Chaos Strike. That's one fair argument. Definitely don't need to get your ultimate either. Yep, this is basically how the laning stage should have just been going the whole time. Pretty much. Just him owning. That goes all of your gold. That was definitely not the move. Now all your mangoes are gone. CK has gotten a little excited. This is going to be painful. Should have armored him. I don't think it would have saved him, but you never know. Boy, do you really need a wand or a magic stick. You should always buy at least a magic stick on a support. There's there's literally no reason not to buy one. The only case is sometimes if you're playing like a 4-position hero like Earthshaker or something. But you 100% needed to get one. You still haven't pulled yet, by the way, this whole time. Could have pulled.
Dire's middle tower is under
Side pull, small pull, either of them. You tried stacking, but that's but oh god. Oh, this hurts so much. Do not buy mangoes at this point in the game. You cannot buy 3 mangoes. It is so bad. Clarity potions, man. Clarity potions. Pop a clarity potion, get a pull gone, done, and your mana's back. All of your mana's back. You're dropping 200 gold here. You've spent 400 gold on mangoes at this point in the game. Like, buying the 3 at the start, totally fine. Buying the next 3, not great. Like, even if you go like 2 mangoes and a clarity, I am happy. Honestly. You can't go 3 mangoes. Because it's just not efficient enough. 1 clarity potion gives you what? 4.5? It's like 250 mana. 250 mana for 50 gold. This is 110 mana for 70 gold. 60 gold. 70 gold. So, let's do the gold per mana cost really quick. I'm going to pause and then tell you what it is. Okay, so if you buy a mango, you are paying 1.57 gold per mana that you get. For a clarity, you're paying 4.5. So that means that a clarity is 3 times better for your mana per gold than a mango is. 3 times better. That means if you use a clarity potion for a third of its duration, which is like, I don't know, 50 divided by 3, whatever the heck that is. 50 divided by 3. If you use a clarity for 16 seconds and it gets destroyed, it is still better than you buying a mango. That's it. Don't buy so many mangoes. It's just, you're throwing your gold away, man. It's just, you're just going away, throwing away. And you haven't pulled this whole time, which would help the lane more. So, basically, you've just made this lane super even this game. Let's go back and talk about the beginning. You messed up your first trade with Crystal Maiden. Your second trade was great. And then you ended up dying for First Blood by making some mistakes. You prioritized the Pangolier too much when you should just crush the Crystal Maiden. And then transitioned over to you guys continuing to dominate. Even if you didn't kill Pango that much, as long as you didn't give him a kill, eventually CK is just going to outlane him. Because CK is going to get more regen from Chaos Strike last hits. So as long as you don't die until you get like level 2, then you're just going to repeatedly rinse and repeat kill Crystal Maiden or Pangolier. So you messed up that early stuff, then it kind of recovered a little bit. Now you're kind of wasting too much gold just to get your mana pool back, when instead you could have just been using it to get kills. You could have pulled there. Use the mana pool to do other stuff. What are you doing? TPing mid now? Sniper ended up dying. It's too late for that, so pick up 7 here, which is fine. Here you are, using all of your mangoes again. Or yeah, there goes another 700 or 200 gold, which could have just been 1 clarity. Spent 200 gold instead of 50 there. So painful. Now you're going Arcane Boots. You still don't have a magic wand, by the way, so your ability to surprise enemies, to have efficient health is just all gone. All of that beautifulness is gone. I personally don't like you maxing Frost Shield this game at all. I don't think it's a very good skill to max out right away. It's frankly just not good to max right away. It doesn't scale that incredibly. Like, you should definitely have. I like going 2-2-0 early game for sure. But some players get like 3. I'd rather you have 3 points in Frost Blast personally to help you disable or to deal damage. Or you could get more points in Sinister Gaze to potentially use against Storm, for example. It drains mana up to 25%. That part's cool. More stun duration. All of those things are worth having. More so than 10% more damage block. Like, who are you reducing damage against? Anti-Mage is the main one. He does physical with mana break and right clicks. But everybody else is like magic damage. Like, in no ways should you be maxing out Frost Shield this game. Like, Lich is very flexible in his item build. There are games where doing this skill build is great, but it's more in cases against like Legion commanders or people that you know are going to go on you. Like if I'm against a PA or something or a PL, sure, it's a great skill to have. But this game, it's weird that you went for 3 points in Frost Shield. I don't think that is valuable. Your sniper has been dying a lot. But I'd also like to point out, like, I get you're trying to stabilize for him, but you know what the best way to do that is to gank. And it's pretty hard for you to do that because you guys don't have good disables against Storm Spirit, but and I'd maybe say it's straight up impossible for you to kill Storm with Sniper as your other hero, but sitting around is not good either. I know you complained about in your sign up that you don't like when the support sits behind and just goes for denies only, but I would argue that that's kind of what you've been doing gameplay wise on the rest of the map. You're trying to react to kills and stuff, but if you don't set up anything proactively either, then you're never going to create kills for your team. You're doing the equivalent of sitting behind. That was unfortunate misses. Like, or you could go top and team fight with your team. Like, you've had your ulti for quite a while now, at least a couple minutes, and they're fighting. Like, you could just go fight here. Like, or you could just say, fuck Storm. I'm not going to be able to Chain Frost Storm and kill him. Why don't I just go top and go do something with that instead? Because literally for a good 3 minutes now, you've just been sitting mid and have basically accomplished almost nothing. You've pushed a couple creep waves out. You've gotten a little gold, but you've got this beauty just sitting here not being used. That could be used to blow up anybody in the top lane. You could try to kill Anti-Mage, even though he's got magic resistance and all. That'd be a better use of your time, I think. And in the meantime, CK's been by himself bottom, which is fine. He's made use of that. I do like a skill build, actually. This is pretty decent. Maxing Reality Rift out pretty quick is a good idea. Anyways, you could be going top, pressuring, and taking tower, for example. That's what you should be doing in this moment, not sitting around trying to stabilize all of your cores. Like, if you got 3 cores, all of them can potentially carry this game. It's okay if Sniper gets a little bit behind. And frankly, he's still doing pretty okay considering. He's died a few times, but it legitimately doesn't matter. Here's a case where frost shielding yourself would have been pretty good. But, like, that's all you really accomplished by being mid. You pushed out the lanes a little bit, and then they eventually ganked you instead. So that's where you should be going instead. You should have a wand. To be honest, it wouldn't be bad if you had a bracer either. I personally don't buy arcanes on Lich typically. I usually go tranquil boots instead. You don't have to do that build, but I don't like this like movement speed into mana rush. It's not good. Your raw HP is not very high. It keeps you pretty burstable. You need to buy a wand, and it's not bad for you to fit a bracer in as well, because it's just going to mean that their ability to kill you is going to be a lot less high. You slowly kill a creep wave over here. You're dewarding. This is the cliff ward. But then what are you doing? You're kind of just doing the same thing. You're like, I'm defending mid. But then you're standing around. What does this do? You could be moving with your team. Go setting up kills. You still haven't used Chain Frost yet, and you've had it for 5 minutes. It's a huge mistake. Now you're rotating bottom because you're trying to get bounty runes. Cool, you got a bounty rune. But like, outside of this bounty rune, and a little bit of pushing mid, I feel like you've actually accomplished nothing in the last 5 minutes. You got a deward here. But that's basically it. Now you're moving bottom with your CK. Like, you're 2, 3, and 1. There's been 8 kills. Enemy team has gotten 15 kills, and you just haven't been there for like any of them, it feels like. So what's basically happening is you are becoming passive. Your skill build is again rough. This is not good. You don't need a max frost shield. Should be Frost Blaster, Sinister Gaze. Like, you can leave this at like 2 points for a while. It's not that bad. You're not setting up anything on your team. You're just sitting on your side of the map and hoping that you're in the right place at the right time to react. And this is probably why you feel useless in the late game, to be honest, because you're probably never getting yourself really ahead when you play support. You haven't set up a single gank this game. You haven't gone top, for example. You could have gone top, let your allies push out the wave, and then play over here, and then react to dive. You can dive heroes here, or maybe they dive your heroes. Then you jump out of the trees and use a Chain Frost or something. None of those circumstances have presented themselves to you because all you've done is gone mid and pushed out the mid lane with Frost Shield, which isn't even that good because you kind of just push one wave and you don't get the last hits. So it's like not very valuable use of your time. And this is why you're kind of under-leveled a little bit. Your levels are not great and your net worth is really bad because you haven't been in any fights. So you haven't bought items to make your hero stronger in the short term or the long term. Now you're buying Glimmer Cape. Did you buy... Are you just rushing Glimmer now? Okay. What's wrong with this? The issue with this is that, yes, your magic resistance is going up, your HP is not going up, so it's not actually going to make you that much stronger. Your curve has basically been really flat the whole time and hasn't really gotten that much better in any way. Your ability to win a fight at every point in the game has pretty much always been worse than your opponents because of the items that you're buying. You haven't bought a magic stick, you haven't bought an Ironwood branch, you haven't bought a bracer, you haven't even bought tranquil boots to keep your HP up. Instead, you're buying things like healing salves. You haven't bought clarities. You've been buying mangoes a lot. You've just been throwing gold away. Your network could easily be like 400 higher, I think, just by some of those safe efficiencies. Especially because if you think about it this way, let's say you buy a bracer, a 500 gold item. I'll resume until you so I don't hear the sound anymore. Let's say you spend 500 gold on a bracer. You might think, I'm throwing that away. I'm going to just sell it someday. Well, it gives you 100 HP, gives you 5% magic resistance, and it gives you a little bit of mana and a little bit of armor and attack speed. The benefit is that next time you fight, you have 100 more HP to not die. Or maybe Storm Spirit has to use another Ball Lightning jump to kill you more than normal. That means he has less mana to use on your allies. But some of these times that you fight with this Bracer and this Magic Wand, you're going to live. And you're going to be around to get a kill. Or maybe someone will die that wouldn't have died otherwise if you would have died right away. And that is where your Bracer pays for itself. A fourth of it pays for itself, or half pays for itself. Or maybe you get a really big kill and you get a little bit more. Or maybe you get a kill, you stay alive, and that allows you guys to push and take the next tower. And you throw Tranquils on top of that. And then you buy another Bracer. And all of a sudden you've got 2 Bracers, a Wand, and Tranquils. Now you've got like 300 more HP than normal. You've got more levels than your opponents because you've been staying alive. And then you take a fight and you live at like 10% HP. Now you've got Tranquils, so you go back up to full without having to go back to base. And now, after winning a team fight, you feel comfortable now running deep and warding, for example. Something like that. But instead, what you've been doing this whole game is just sitting on your side of the map, kind of slowly counter-pushing, but not super effectively. And for 6 minutes here, we haven't even used our ultimate yet, which is one of the best things about Lich. As soon as you hit 6, you should be forcing a fight with your teammates somewhere. It should be done. It's really valuable. But you still haven't crossed the map yet. And your laning stage was not incredible enough for this to be justified. So this is why you probably feel weak later. It's because you're playing position 5, but you're never getting into team fights. You're flipping the coin every game. You're basically saying, like, I'm never going to do things aggressively. I'm only going to react passively and in probably the weakest way possible, which is always TP reactions. So anytime there's a gank on your ally, you might look bottom and say, like, oh man, I would love to TP bottom to help Chaos Knight. Let's say you have your TP, but this fight already started, for example. So you're always going to show up like 15 seconds late. And maybe Chaos Knight plays really well and he stays alive long enough for you to get there to throw Chain Frost, and maybe you guys get a big turnaround kill. But that doesn't mean that what you did was good, that you've still been doing all this passive stuff. And in those coin flip games where that does work out, where you TP bottom like this and get a double kill and Chaos Knight lives and you guys are like, oh, great job, Lich, you still have played quite bad, because you haven't done anything else for 6 minutes. So that's why you're coin flipping. Because even if you had this TP up, maybe you get this double kill. Maybe you TP and it doesn't work out, and then you're like, man, I'm just not having good impact. I don't know what's up. Well, that's because you laned poorly, you didn't pull a single time, you haven't done anything aggressively in the last 6 minutes, and you're always reacting to fights late. Because you're not setting tempo for the game. You're not playing in the right place on the map. You haven't even been on the top lane once since... No, you TP'd mid that one time and played around and then ran bottom, I think is what happened. Or maybe you went top and did a little bit and then ran bottom. Like, Anti-Mage hasn't seen you yet, for example, I'm sure. I doubt he's seen you on the map yet. So, this tower is still full HP. This lane should be pushed out. You should be here with, like, at least Witch Doctor, and then you can dive people under the tower, or then you can invade the jungle. So that's your normal pattern. It's similar as what didn't happen in the PL game. You didn't go to the off lane and take the tower and then open up the jungle. You're still playing, like, the map still looks like it's 7 minutes into the game, other than the mid-tier one being dead. For both teams, actually. Both teams are bad at this. So this is, like, the most simple thing that you need to do in your game, in all of your games, whether you're core or support, is, like, by the 10-minute mark, you should probably be moving to the off lane with, like, 4 of your teammates total, and don't show everybody in the wave. What Witch Doctor is doing here is bad. He should TP in with you, or everybody should walk here. And then Razor can come too. One person pushes the lane out, like Sniper. He pushes the lane up. You guys are all sitting here. 3, you put a ward behind the tower. Whoever's here, you just fucking kill them instantly. You jump out from here, you throw a bunch of shit on them, they die. And then you take the tower, because now they're like, oh shit, our guy's dead. No, we can't defend the tower. Tower gets killed, and then all you're doing is placing wards throughout the jungle here. And by doing this, what does it mean? It means Anti-Mage can't farm here anymore. Which means that the only place he can farm is probably offlane or neutrals over here. And then he's going to feel really constricted. It's going to delay his Battle Fury. Even when he gets his Battle Fury, he's not going to feel comfortable farming over here because you're going to have wards, 1 here, 1 over here-ish. And therefore, he's not going to feel comfortable passing this location. And then what you can do is leave like 1 hero here, like Chaos Knight or Razor. Probably wouldn't be Sniper because he's easy to kill. And then the other 4 can move around and try to kill him. Then kill him here, then kill whoever's pushing this lane. Maybe they can get a gank off on the mid lane. And by doing this, you restrict the map. And the game becomes very easy because they're not going to feel comfortable farming. Again, that's probably not going to happen because Storm's having a decent game and Sniper is quite vulnerable, although he is quite farmed. None of these things have happened because, number 1, you lost the lanes harder than you should have, which meant that CK is less farmed than he should have been, and you are less farmed than you should have been. And, of course, Pango has more farm than he should, and CM has more farm than she should. And then on top of that, ever since the 10-minute mark, you haven't done anything other than Frost Shield a creep wave mid, so that the equilibrium is here instead of right here, which is semi-useless. So That is why you're losing your games, and that's why you're going to feel useless later. It's because your net worth is all the way down here, and there is no chance in hell that you get it back unless you show up to a team fight, throw Chain Frost, and luck out and get like 3 kills, and nobody focuses you for some reason. Because they're fucking killing you if they go on you, because you only have 900 HP and a cloak. And now you're trying to greed out some like defensive item, but until you get that 1400 gold, your hero is extremely easy to kill. All it takes is like basic skills. A swashbuckle with a thunder strike and a crystal nova, and you are dead. You're straight up dead because you don't have bracers or a wand. And sure, once you get your glimmer cape, it's going to be okay. But until you get that glimmer cape in about 4 minutes from now, it's not going to matter. You've discovered clarities. I'm very proud of you. Once again, you have pushed the mid tower a little bit. You have dewarded a ward. Alright, here it comes. 4 minutes later, approximately. There it is. 4 minutes later, you have your glimmer cape. And now you're in a decent place because you got your health talent. Now everything looks okay. But we're 20 minutes in, you still haven't used your Chain Frost. And you finally got an item that makes you semi-survivable. That could have been like wands and bracers up before now, for example. So 2, 4, and 1. Your team has had 11 kills. You've only been in 3 of them. It's a little bit overkill, but. And now AM has Battle Furious. The game's gonna get hard, basically. And you probably just get out farmed in the late game, I would imagine. That's kind of weird, but I imagine you should have gotten the pull on him here, most likely. Friggin' tower's still alive at 22 minutes in. Shit's crazy. I was like, what is this guy doing? Why would he run right? He's very dead. God, that looks so good. The Manta after Armlet. I don't think that was the way, probably. That was the way, though. Interesting. People's Gift is not that bad, actually. More agility and more int. It's not terrible. Okay, cool. That should basically cover it. I think that should make sense. If that doesn't answer your questions, just feel free to email me and I'll get back to you with some details. But either way, thanks for signing up. I hope this was very helpful. I hope that this can get you aggressive on the map. You're playing way too passively in both your core and your support roles. All right, thanks. Goodbye.